Hello, fellow weekend warriors, and welcome back to our Western Sun Garden. So recently I've been seeing a lot online in regards to vermicomposting or in-ground worm compost bins. I'm not gonna lie, at first I was a little bit skeptical. Is this something that even works? Well, we went ahead and tried it out with a couple of bins in our own garden bed, and I'm happy to report that it actually works. So much so that we're gonna be adding some more worms to our compost bins, and I wanna take you through the process of setting it up here in our own bins. The point here is to hopefully get rid of any of the mystery behind this process, so if this is something that you want to try, you'll feel confident in doing so. So come on in, we're going to add a couple of more friends, and I'm going to show you the process. Let's check it out. So this is what it looks like after a few weeks. Nothing fancy, just scraps starting to break down. And as you can see, it's already turning into a darker, richer material. That's exactly what you want. At this point, the worms and microbes are already working together, breaking everything down behind the scenes. Now, once you dig in a little, you'll start to see the activity. The worms are constantly moving through this, breaking everything into smaller pieces. And that's what speeds up the whole process, because once it's smaller, the microbes can finish the job a lot faster. Now, when it comes to purchasing the worms, I found that the red Wrigglers on sale at Wal-Mart work great. They're easy to find over in the sporting goods section, and they are a great price for what you get. The only important thing to realize is that make sure you check the date on the lid. They have various dates, some older and some newer, and my suggestion is you find one closer to where you are. I did open a couple of them up. The lids are really easy to open, and some of them that were older were kind of dried out, and the ones that had a closer date were fresh, and you could tell the worms were alive and happy. Now we're going to be adding a few more worms to this bin just to make sure that it remains active. We noticed that the bin was not as composted as our other bin, so we're going to be adding a few more worms just to make sure this one is good to go. Now these guys are doing basically all of the heavy lifting. They're eating, they're processing, and they're turning this into usable nutrients. Now don't forget, the more active they are, the faster everything will break down. Just look at those worms. They look like they're ready to go into our other bin as well. Now, I'm not going to lie, this was the most complicated part to me, just trying to figure out what kind of food can you add. Well, as you can see, it's nothing too complicated. This is just some simple salad scraps that we had laying around. And this is what they're going to be feeding on. They're going to start working on this pretty quickly. Now, it may not look like much now, but this is all going to get converted into worm castings. And this part here is pretty easy. We're just going to be throwing in some browns. Here we just ripped up a cardboard egg carton, and this is going to help balance things out so it doesn't get too wet or too compacted. It's also going to give the system some airflow, which keeps everything breaking down the way that it should. Next up, we're going to be layering some of the dry material. It's just leaves and yard stuff. This is stuff that I had just recently raked from under a couple of our trees, really easy and simple to work with. And this is going to keep everything nice and balanced, and it's going to give the worms more to move through. You're basically building layers that hold moisture, but still let everything breathe. And then just water it in a bit. You want it to stay moist, but not soaking. That's because you want to make sure that it keeps both the worms and the microbes active. And that's really where all the breaking down is happening. So what you're building here isn't just a compost pile, it's a living system. Worms, microbes, everything working together to turn scraps into plant-ready nutrients. Now here I'm just covering it with a little more cardboard and a plate to keep any of the critters out. Now, if you're wondering what you should be composting, let me show you. What you're doing here is just balancing your greens and your browns, your food scraps on one side and things like cardboard and leaves on the other. The worms and microbes work together to break all that down, turning it into a nutrient-rich castings your plants can actually use. It's going to help your soil hold moisture, improve airflow, and basically turns your waste into something your garden thrives on. The materials you need are any basket with holes on the side. We're using this metal waste basket from Dollar Tree, which works great. The cover you saw earlier is a small plate from Dollar Tree as well. So here's a peek at our other compost bin. If you notice, there's a big old worm right here at the top, and I can tell you that these worms look really plump and juicy, like they're enjoying their job and really getting full with all of the wonderful scraps and browns that we're adding to our compost bin. The important part here is to feed them regularly, once a week with about 1 inch of food scraps so that the worms have something to work on, and you'll continue to see it turn into this wonderful worm casting and composted material ready to be used in your garden. Well, there you have it, everybody. We hope we took a little bit of the mystery out of setting up one of these vermicompost bins in your own garden. Now, if you feel inspired to do so, good luck, and we hope you do well. Speaking of inspiration, we recently created 2 awesome inspo videos all about the 2026 design trends for planter and container gardening. If you're interested in watching either of those, they're right here listed for you, and we think you would absolutely love them. Well, I'm going to go ahead and feed that second set of worms. I know they're very much looking forward to it. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Take care, and we'll see you back here in the next one.